Wendy, go ahead and lead us.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Good morning. Let's get ready for some meditation. You can start by closing your eyes or having a soft gaze down. And just gently press down through your sits bones and just lengthen up through the spine. Maybe draw your shoulder blades up and back and down, relaxing the muscles of the face, allowing the hands to rest, softening the belly, taking a long, deep breath in all the way up to the shoulders and sighing it out. Relaxing into this moment, leaving everything behind. Taking another deep breath in. Exhaling gently, fully. We're here on this Friday morning together, sitting, breathing. And just noticing your breath, just noticing your natural breath, how it is, without trying to change anything. Relaxing the body. When the body relaxes, the mind can start to relax. Knowing that there's nothing to do or accomplish. There's no goal. Just simply sitting. Noticing the breath entering the body. Every inhalation, the diaphragm moves down, the belly expands outward. Every exhalation, the belly falls inward towards the spine. And just noticing the state of the mind without judging or criticizing. Noticing thoughts, emotions, not being drawn away by anything in particular, just noticing. Noticing if the breath is long or short. Noticing sensations in the body. noticing any tension in the body. And watching what's happening. And just allowing everything to happen. The breath, the body sensations, the breeze, the sounds. Allowing everything to be just as it is. Noticing if the mind begins to wander, and that's okay. Simply notice and gently bring the attention, the focus back to the breath.
So this is going to be an unusual talk today. But it's a talk that I've wanted to do for quite a while. I have a little history with the subject matter. But we're going to take two children's stories and see what in the Dharma, see how they include the Dharma. So non-Buddhist sources teaching Buddhist things to children, supposedly. But are they for children, and are they non-Buddhist? When I was a boy, beginning of television, my dad hated it, so we read a lot of books. And one of the things that my parents bought, I don't know where this is now, somebody has it, is a Walt Disney book with beautiful pictures and those things that we read every night. I think I was fortunate that I was the only kid who didn't grow up kind of in the TV era. And so I got a chance to know all of these stories. And I'm going to pick two of them today and try to relate the Dharma to them, or what comes from the story in a dharmic way. And then I want you to be thinking the same. So we'll share that together. And Sandy's going to help me with the second one, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Listen to the story. Pretend you're a child getting ready for bed. Once upon a time, there were three bears who lived together in a house on their own in a wood. One of them was a little small wee bear, one was a middle-sized bear, and the other was a great huge bear. One day after they had made porridge for their breakfast, they walked out into the woods while the porridge was cooling. While they were walking, a little girl came into the house. This little girl had gold curls that tumbled down her back to her waist, and everyone called her by Goldilocks. Goldilocks went inside. First, she tasted the porridge of the great huge bear, and that was far too hot for her. Then she tasted the porridge of the middle bear, and that was too cold for her. Then she went to the porridge of the little small wee bear and tasted that, and it was neither too hot nor too cold, but just right. And she liked it so well that she ate it all up. Not a dharmic principle. No, I lost my place. Let's see. Okay.
I think I'm with Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear.
Well, this is not the story I'm telling today, Ruthie.
I have to keep translating.
Yeah, you do. Then Goldilocks went upstairs into the bedchamber. At first she lay down upon the bed of the great huge bear, and then she lay down on the middle bear, and then she lay down upon the bed of the little small wee bear, which was just right. One was too hard, one was too soft, and one was just right. So she covered herself comfortably and lay there until she fell fast asleep.
So she felt what?
Fast asleep. By this time, the three bears had thought their porridge would be cool enough, so they came home to breakfast. By the way, I skipped a little section there in my visual problem. The chairs, right? The one chair was too big, one chair was too...
Hard?
Hard? No, was it hard? I got to look back because I skipped over that section. Okay, we're just going to say...
That was the best. One was too tall, one was too short, and one was just right.
One was just right. The wee bear's chair was just right.
The baby bear's.
Okay. Thank you for your help.
Thank you.
By this time, the three bears thought their porridge would be cool enough, so they came home to breakfast. Somebody has been at my porridge, said the great huge bear in a great huge voice. Somebody has been at my porridge, said the middle bear in his middle voice. Then the little wee bear looked at his, and there was a spoon in the porridge pot, but the porridge was all gone. Somebody has been in my porridge and has eaten it all up, said the little small wee bear in his little small wee voice. Then the three bears went upstairs into their bedroom. Somebody has been lying in my bed, said the great huge bear in his great gruff voice. Somebody has been lying in my bed, said the middle bear in his middle voice. And then the little small wee bear came to look at his bed. Upon the pillow there was a pool of golden curls and an angelic face of a little girl snoring away, fast asleep. Somebody has been laying in my bed, and here she is, said the little small wee bear in his little small wee voice. Goldilocks jumped off the bed and ran downstairs, out of the door, and down the garden path. She ran and she ran until she reached the house of her grandma. When she told her grandma about the house of the three bears who lived in the wood, her granny said, my, what a wild imagination you have, child. The end. The story only did 2 of the 3, so it's a different version of the story than that. Either I copied it wrong, but I don't think so. So in these kind of stories, I think we try to teach our kids some of the most basic things, some of the most intuitive things, some of the things that are probably in their conscience when they come. Does this remind you of some Buddhist idea? That there's this beautiful nature that comes into this world, a Buddha nature that comes into this world. And we tell these simple stories to our children so that you can water that garden. And I think one of the reasons why children's stories are so powerful, including this one and many others, is they get past the complexity. I don't know if it's been your experience, but mine is that the longer you live, the more complex it looks until you make it simple. The Dharma talks about that all the time. But that idea that that we feed our children these truths, and some negative role models, like there's a whole bunch of non-dharmic principles in that thing. First of all, she went into somebody else's place disrespectfully. She ate their food. She didn't seem to have a conscience about laying around on their backs. And those things. So those are not dharmic things, but the lessons are on both sides of that coin. The key one, of course, is the middle way. The Dharma, meaning the middle way, is the answer. Not too hot, not too cold, not too hard, not too soft, not too tall, not too short. That the answer is in the middle. It's a simple answer. Hard to get to in the complexity of things, but there's a simple answer. Anytime there's polarization, which there's plenty of, the answer is in the middle. So even say the statisticians. A bell curve is how things almost always land on a graph paper. A majority of people and circumstances end up somewhere on either side of the middle. And the extremes are just a very small portion of things. So this middle way that's inherent in this story is the obvious one. Did you hear it in the story? Do you think children would get that?
Sure.
I think it's said so simply and clearly that there are choices, and when it doesn't fit, there's another choice in between those two extreme choices. A second principle, curiosity, is in that story. Goldilocks, on the positive side of the Dharma, was curious about the woods, the cottage, the porridge, the chairs, the beds. She wanted to know what they all felt like, so her life was an experiment with finding out. That really fits with kids, doesn't it? That we try to fan the flames of curiosity in them. It seems to me that there's also some other subtle ones in this story. It seems that it says that the youthful spot is the most desirable. I think there's a deeper truth than it being about age. I think the deeper truth is the more we become like the child, reduce our ego, arise our Buddha nature, the more we go with the flow of life. And so the youthful spot is the return to innocence. To shed the clothes that don't fit anymore. To go back to our pure nature. The ending of the story is kind of like, it was a quick ending. You know, and I don't remember, maybe there's another version where maybe Disney made it so it was softer and sweeter, you know, in the ending. But this is I think this is from the original 1887. Robert Southey is the author of this, 1887. And so, in the end, there was no judgment by the bears. The only judgment in the story was Goldilocks about herself. Soon as she saw them and had the experience of them, her conscience kicked in and she ran away. And so the idea that there's non-judgment is in this story too. So, of course, the middle way, curiosity, an innocent spot, and non-judgment are in the story. So I want to ask you, as you listen to that story, are there other Dharma principles that I did not find in that story? Anybody hear something else?
What happens after she ate the porridge? What was the, do you remember what happened?
She said, and then she just goes on to the next thing.
Okay.
The chairs were too high, her feet didn't reach the floor.
That's part of the story that's not in my...
The middle part was, it also was good, and then the other one was just right, there's a baby there.
Yeah.
And I think it also is a lesson in, it's one of the things that you can, the child in their imagination can say, wow, you know, when you get a little bigger, you maybe want the middle choice. And when you get bigger from there, you may want the daddy bear choice.
Okay.
So if you've got a brother, he may fit just perfectly with the daddy bear choice, etc. So don't think that because, the spectrum covers everything from being here to there on what's just right.
Yeah, what is just right.
So that now you have to have discernment for yourself.
It also, when you talk about that, of course, impermanence comes directly to mind.
Right.
That things never stay the same. That everything evolves. And that what fit for you 5 years ago might be clothes that you have to take off. What fit for you now might be very different, or might be in a progression, that direction. So it does. You remind me of impermanence when you talk about that.
And I think perception plays a part.
Perception.
Perception, because you don't know at the end of the story whether it's just that the grown-up grandma has no imagination, or Goldilocks, remember the story, I knew it, she was lost in the woods because she was disobedient. And so she got lost, and then she got tired, and she found the house. It could be that she got lost, fell asleep, and she dreamed all that.
Could be.
So that it could be, is the grandmother just being an adult who has no ability to understand her experience?
To be childlike.
Or is the grandmother right and she fell asleep and had a dream?
It's the exact same story in The Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
The end, she's laying in the bed, and you're like, was this all in her mind? Same theme, spun just with different characters.
You can
What-
read other stuff into that ending on the Three Bears.
Talk of John.
If you're honest,
Speak up, John.
if you're honest about what you've done, you're not going to get in big trouble.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe she was suffering because she ran away from the situation, but she fessed up and found a cure for her own suffering.
Absolutely.
Okay, give me the Dharma twist on what happened to me as a child. My grandmother read me that story many, many times.
Sure.
And she would have to tell me she was so alive.
Better than me, yeah.
And really into it. And at the end, what she would always do for us kids, would you have eaten the porridge? And would you have sat in that chair and wrote it? And so we had that discussion, and then in the end, after she did all that with those three things, she'd say, well, what would you have done if you, how would you have fixed it?
How would you look?
How would you fix it?
How would you, you can't regurgitate porridge, you can't,
Yeah.
but it was like, always learning lessons, always, it's happened, so it was much more, how you gonna fix it? How you gonna get back in the game, how you gonna take care of those things that you've messed up? And it's always, that's sort of the old way of being raised, like my parents.
Did you feel bad?
But I would take a blast until then.
Leave it to the Westerners to inject guilt
Yeah.
right away. Immediately. Take you on a guilt trip.
A whole lot of drama when I was little.
There is a dharmic principle, though, in exactly what you said, and that is that the progression, as you talk through what are the lessons. It would probably be better for parents to say what are the lessons that you're hearing, rather than here's the lesson, now do that. But that principle that there are lessons in every circumstance for us in life as we go down, as we float skillfully downstream, to use the Buddhist principle. There, to be an observer is to learn all of the lessons in the good, in the bad, in the difficult, in the easy, all those things. That part of the thing, non-shame based, fits in there. So there's at least a principle going in that direction there. You wanted to add something, Wendy?
Well, from a Dharma perspective, I see motivation. I see motivation on the part of the girl of not meaning to break something, not meaning to be unruly or whatever, bad, whatever you want to call a child that would break something. She didn't have that motivation.
Mm-hmm.
She was just full of wonder and curiosity and awe and going through the woods and seeing this little cottage and wandering inside. There's nobody around, and she was just very childlike and beginner's mind.
Mm-hmm.
But there was no motivation to do any harm.
Mm-hmm.
So how can there be any guilt?
Uh-huh. Fits with the Eightfold Path, doesn't it? What was her intention? What was her it
I don't
was,
think she had an attention.
Yeah.
It was just childlike. It was
Yeah.
just wonder.
yeah, sure.
I kept listening to myself about how your story conflicted with my story about bears, and so I needed to keeping my mind clear and listening and without judgment, and clearing my mind of preconceived stories about what I remember. And so for me, that's what was going on in my head.
It's good. You stayed
I stayed focused.
you stayed focused on the path, even though these little detours were available for you off the path. Absolutely. Good. Yes.
So there's some subtle things that directly and indirectly related to the non-ranges for me. First, I wonder why there's bears in the story. Why are there peacocks or tigers?
They don't have porridge.
But more importantly, I think
Neither do bears.
a hard bed, big bear, is a sign of how we become as adults.
Nice.
A soft bed for a little bed there allows for change, allows for flexibility, allows for shifts. She had to have mindfulness to feel what the bed is,
Mm-hmm.
right? But she also had the suffering of craving to find the right bed or the right porridge. So even though she's filled with innocence, she's been impacted already by what is perfect in her mind. Porridge, bed, chair. So yeah, we see the innocence and the curiosity, but we also see the impact of the environment she's already had, and how that environment can make us soft, easy, or hard over time.
Huh?
So I read a little bit of that in her.
It's good. Good additions.
Attachment and aversion.
Thank you. Huh?
Attachment and aversion.
Attachment and aversion. Absolutely.
But she knew enough that she knew she'd done something wrong, or she wouldn't have run away.
Uh-huh.
Maybe she was just scared of the bears.
Maybe she was.
As I say,
Maybe she was.
they'd be scared.
Makes you wonder.
My memory of nursery rhymes, though, is that each one was a morality lesson to each one. And the one I always got from that story was that in your innocence you can explore different things, and that may be good or bad. It's probably good, but it can have unintended consequences.
Aesop's Fables is another one that I love, and has the same kind of moral, you get a real understanding as a child of what is right, what is wrong, and I could read them again. They formed me,
What was the book?
Aesop's Fables.
Aesop's
Oh,
Fables. Yeah,
Aesop's
yeah. It's a
Fables.
series,
Okay.
gathering of those.
Yeah.
Yes.
I kept thinking about what a bear's going to do to this poor little girl. I mean, they exercised restraint.
Didn't
They
it?
ate their little baby's porridge,
Yeah.
broke the chair, sleeping in the bed.
Oh,
like,
baby bear.
eat it. You know, right? I
They-
mean,
they
they
were-
withheld, like, they were sort of in the same mindset of just, like, curious and in awe of, like, the bracelets of this little girl to do
Yeah.
that. And they didn't do anything. Sort of the non-violence.
It's one of the things that you learn in parenting, that if you're quiet, people come to their own conclusions about what they just did, because they know. So that's there's a lot about choice in this right? And I think when the world is polarized, or we are polarized about something and everything looks black and white, I do think that starts to enter into the
Very
picture.
much so.
That there's choices. There's all kinds of choices. I've been doing, I don't know if any of you followed, but on Facebook I've been doing a dialogue of big issues with that, and I'm not allowing negativity. So if someone writes something negative, I erase it, because it's my page, so I can do it. And it's been very, very interesting for people to find a middle conversation, which has been always my experience when I lay down my ego, lay down my one way of looking at things, and there's choices in the middle. That's the beauty about the middle way, is it's full of valuable choices. Yeah.
What was the very end name? What did the grandmother say?
Yeah.
So you're some kind of some.
You have an imagination.
Her granny said, "My, what a wild imagination you have, child."
And she didn't criticize it?
Well,
No,
it's
not
not in this version.
Well, it's implicit that she is kind of like, oh, you're just a child.
You can read into it, but it could be it could be positive. Like, what a great imagination you have. We hear that negative thing first, of course. Yeah.
You just come up with a story that's going to be read for years and years and years.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. I want to go to the second one. The Velveteen Rabbit. Do you know this story? Less known than Goldilocks, but this is written by Marjorie Williams in 1921, and so and was published in Harper's Bazaar magazine or something, and then it just took off and became a book. I cannot read this story without crying, so I asked Sandy to read. So I sent her it yesterday. She said that she would be the storyteller, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. I can't read this one without being kind of a mess. So Sandy's helping me today.
Yeah. Now this is called the Velveteen Rabbit. There was once a Velveteen Rabbit, and in the beginning he was gorgeous. He was fat and bunchy, as a rabbit should be. His coat was spotted brown and white. He had real red whiskers, and his ears were lined with pink sateen. On Christmas morning, he was wedged in the top of the boy's stocking, with a sprig of holly between his paws. There were other things in the stocking: nuts and oranges and a toy engine, and chocolate almonds and a clockwork mouse. But the rabbit was the best of all. For at least 2 hours, the boy loved him, and then aunts and uncles came to dinner, and there was a great rustling of tissue paper and unwrapping of parcels, and in the excitement of looking at all the new presents, the Velveteen Rabbit was forgotten. For a long time he lived in the toy cupboard or on the nursery floor, and no one thought very much about him. He was naturally shy, and being only made of velveteen, some of the more expensive toys snubbed him. The mechanical toys were superior and looked down upon everyone else. They were full of modern ideas and pretended they were real. The model boat, who had lived through 2 seasons and lost most of his paint, caught the tone from them and never missed an opportunity of referring to his rigging in technical terms. The rabbit could not claim to be a model of anything, for he didn't know that real rabbits existed. He thought they were all stuffed like himself. Even Timothy, the wooden lion, put on airs and pretended he was connected with the government. Between them all, the poor little rabbit was made to feel very insignificant and common, and the only person who was kind to him at all was the horse. The horse had lived longer in the nursery than any of the others. He was so old that his brown coat was bald in patches and showed the seams underneath, and most of the hairs in his tail had been pulled out. He was wise, for he had seen a long succession of mechanical toys arrive boasting, but soon they would break their mainsprings and pass away, and he knew that they were only toys and would never turn into anything else. For nursery magic is very strange and wonderful, and only those playthings that are old and wise and experienced, like a horse, understand all about it. What is real? Asked the rabbit one day when they were lying side by side. Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and stick out painful? Real isn't how you were made, said the horse. It's a thing that happens to you. When a child loves you
have sharp edges, or have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been lopped off, and your eyes drop out, and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, you can't be ugly, except to people who don't understand. I suppose you are real, said the rabbit. And then he wished he had not said it, for he thought the horse might be sensitive. But the horse only smiled. The boy's uncle made me real, he said. That was a great many years ago. But once you are real, you can't become unreal again. It lasts forever. The rabbit sighed. He thought it would be a long time before this magic called real happened to him. He longed to become real, to know what it felt like, and yet the idea of growing shabby and losing his eyes and whiskers was rather sad. He wished that he could become it without these uncomfortable things happening to him. There was a person called Nana, who ruled a nursery. Sometimes she took no notice of the playthings lying about, and sometimes, for no reason whatever, she went swooping about like a great wind and hustled them away in coverings. She called this tidying up, and the playthings all hated it, especially the tin ones. The rabbit didn't mind it so much, for wherever he was thrown, he came down soft. One evening when the boy was going to bed, he couldn't find the dog that always slept with him. Nana was in a hurry, and it was too much trouble to hunt for dogs at bedtime. So she simply looked about her, and seeing that the toy cupboard door stood open, she made a swoop. Here, she said, take your old buddy. He'll sleep with you. And she dragged the rabbit out by one ear and put him into the boy's arms. That night, and for many nights after, the Velveteen Rabbit slept in the boy's bed. At first he found it rather uncomfortable, for the boy hugged him very tight, and sometimes he rolled over on him, and so far under the pillow that the rabbit could hardly breathe. And he missed, too, those long moonlight hours in the nursery, when all the house was silent and his talks with the horse. But very soon he grew to like it, for the boy used to talk to him and made nice tunnels for him under the bedclothes that he said were like burrows the real rabbits lived in. And they did fun games together, in whispers, when Nana had gone away and left the nightlight on. And when the boy fell asleep, the rabbit would snuggle down close under his little warm chin and dream, with the boy's hands clasped close around him all night long. And so time went on, and the little rabbit was very happy, so happy that he never noticed how his beautiful velveteen fur was getting shabbier and shabbier, and his tail becoming unsewn, and all the pink rubbed off his nose where the boy had kissed him. Spring came, and they had long days in the garden, for wherever the boy went, the rabbit went too. He had rides in the wheelbarrow, and picnics on the grass, and lovely fairy huts built for him under the raspberry canes behind the flower border. And once, when the boy was called away suddenly to go drink tea, the rabbit was left out on the lawn until long after dusk, and Nana had to come and look for him because the boy couldn't go to sleep unless he was there. He was wet from dew and quite earthy from diving into the burrows the boy had made for him in the flower bed. And Nana grumbled as she rubbed him off with the corner of her apron. What a fuss for an old stinky rabbit toy, she said. The boy sat up in bed and stretched out his hands. Give me my bunny, he said. Don't say that. He isn't a toy. He's real. When the little rabbit heard that he was happy, for he knew that what the horse had said was true. The nursery magic happened to him, and he was a toy no longer. He was real. The boy himself had said it. That night he was almost too happy to sleep, and so much love stirred in his little heart that it almost burst. And in his button eyes, that had long ago lost their polish, there came a look of wisdom and beauty. The end.
Thank you. I still cried. A lot of Dharma. A lot of Dharma in that story. The one that I want to highlight, and then you can highlight what you heard, is really, it talks about the idea that all you need is love.
Yeah, that's exactly.
That love is at the heart of all creation, and that's what makes things real. What else did you hear? That's was clear as a bell to me.
Aging.
The beauty of aging.
The beauty of aging. Even when you lose your books, there's a new beauty that emerges.
Love without attachment.
Say some more.
He's not placing any conditions on that love. It's pure love.
Yep, unconditional.
You're not completely happy until you're real.
That has to deal with honesty, doesn't it? Starting with yourself.
Finding purpose in life. Like if you're just a toy in the nursery, the other toys not of any purpose except to, be a toy. You don't really have a life, and life comes with a purpose. And purpose is to love.
And the simplest things are the best. All those mechanical toys with their, ultra modern, it's really the simple things, the basics that are important.
There's not a judgment from the other toys.
There is a
And
lot
the
of.
rabbit remained curious the entire time, always asking. He was accepting wisdom from the horse, curious about what he was just living in the moment the whole time, being curious about what was happening to him, good or bad.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those fairy tales that was like moving you towards some utopia. It was real life lived, which is very dharmic. Yeah.
For me, I think there's a lot of living up to other people's expectations, how you're supposed to be, which doesn't allow you to be real.
Yeah.
And it also strikes the wonderful story of the Buddha has asked a few words to Ananda, and he said, Apo Vipo Bhava, which means you are your own life, that nobody else has the answer. You have the answer inside. And then somebody like acts the mirror, like the voice said you are real, suddenly the light lights up. And then it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter if you're shabby or dirty or smelly or whatever. You discover the answer inside.
It's a bit of nirvana, isn't it? I mean, that becoming real is returning to our roots and being enlightened.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? Is it okay to ask?
Sure.
Can you speak up a bit louder?
What makes you cry in this story? There's a particular point when I saw you
Yeah.
tear up.
No, different parts of the story at different times. It's I think it's that where you started talking that I was a really compliant kid. I mean, I received all the input of others, and so for me to become real took me till about 38. And it's been no turning back since then. And it isn't just about being gay. It's really about being honest, self, and in the world. And then there's that it's maybe one of the themes of my life. And so I revisit it every time. A little bit of the sorrow of all of that. I did, but that's what I knew then, and this is what I know now.
Thank you for your vulnerability.
Yeah.
Leading the group and being so vulnerable.
Yeah.
And still being able to hold the space.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any
Is there also the joy in watching the rabbit become?
say it louder again, Diane.
I forgot what I said. What about ears?
Tears.
Yeah, a symbol of joy watching the Velveteen Rabbit become real. Just like
It's a really good story. You like read the story and then you meditate, and different things will come to you, about it each time.
Just so you know, I had a little teddy bear that I had when I was 37. That I still kept with, remember Bobo? I call him my Bobo. I had it at birth, and one of my dogs lived in the park, Annie, at 37 or something like that. But it meant so much to me. I was devastated. It was real.
My kids are 41 and 43, and they still have.
They have their Bobos?
They still have Louie and Bear.
Oh,
Without an eye. You know, they've been
Yeah.
patched so many times. But I was really touched because this last time I just saw them. They both told me. I even got to see Louie.
In the East, I think we've shared this before, but for those of you who haven't been here, in the East they really view that with age comes wisdom, and that makes intuitive sense. That when you've experienced what you've experienced, if you're willing to learn the lessons along the way, you end up being wise, and it becomes less important. And in the East they view it that way. In the West we view it very differently. Just the opposite. Youth is the ultimate goal, and now you're past your prime, and so now you're less valuable. And actually, the real value comes in going that full circle to become a child again. So there's a lot of East versus West in a lot of this stuff. You find that the children's stories often have a mixture of their environments. A lot of these are English authors, and they run a pretty tidy ship over there. Like this is the parameters, but there's a lot of influence of the East there. I had one more. The uniqueness is elevated in an atmosphere of joy and kindness. When the atmosphere is of joy and kindness, like the boy had, not the lady tidying the room, but with the boy, the intimacy that they had in that atmosphere, uniqueness is elevated rather than denigrated. And I think that's another beautiful paradox in this story.
It's more
Jeff,
celebrated.
did you read, or was that read to you as a child?
No,
Story?
no. I picked that up when I was working at churches with youth groups, because teenagers are always trying to find who am I and where do I fit, how do I fit, and so this is a story that fits with that.
Yeah, it's a very complicated, interesting story. It's a great story. I just wonder if anybody else has ever heard of it.
no.
Oh, yeah.
It was actually the first story that my mother ever read to me. I can see myself sitting next to her on the chair,
Okay.
with her arm on the enchanted book,
Uh,
and it's been with me since.
nice. That's great.
Just something you were saying about East versus West.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, in my autograph book, when I was in page 2, my father wrote me this, I'll never forget it. It was 2 mice who had fallen into a bath of cream. And one of them just simply gave up and drowned. The other one kept on churning until it turned into butter, and he simply got up and got in. Now, how Western is that? I've
Right.
lived with that all my life.
You can do this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's so Western.
For those of you who haven't been with us, there's only 3 ways to operate in a stream, and that is to swim upstream, which really gets you nowhere. That's a very, it doesn't get you to the destination, which is a very Western idea. Or you can float willy-nilly downstream, total perv, like, I don't know, life just happens to me as it happens to me. Or you can float skillfully downstream. Go with the flow of life and build your skill sets, and keep your eyes open in the moment. So that's just a gem that we've passed over and over and over again. In this thing, right, Ruthie? Mm-hmm. You're the one who did the willy-nilly thing, I think, right? I think you did the first presentation, because that's not even words I use.
Okay.
Do you want to add anything else about the rabbit?
Not so much about the rabbit,
Okay.
but I strongly remember that as a child I had a Raggedy Ann doll, and I loved that doll. I mean, she slept with me. There was a Raggedy Andy somewhere. Never knew where that began. But anyway, she just got so dirty and nasty, and we had to keep sewing her up. And my mother told me, you really need to get rid of that doll. Just grow up. She was telling me to grow up, and I wasn't about to grow up. And that Christmas, I had this beautiful box, and I opened it, and there was this Goldilocks type doll in there with the golden hair and all, and I had this powerful emotion. I mean, I hated that doll. I was like, I was incensed, and I hate to tell you, but my mother took my doll. It just disappeared, and I never played with the other doll. I never took her out of the box. But I never quite forgave my mother. I mean, they say you're supposed to forgive everything, but I didn't ever quite forgive her for that.
There's always this week.
Yeah. There's always some. Yeah. I think the adjunct to this story in music is Puff the Magic Dragon.
Yep.
Because eventually the child doesn't carry it out. Although I have a 65-year-old niece who now has a piece of her blankie the size of a postage stamp. And she's got to carry that blankie over the years has been reduced to this little piece, and she carries it with her and rubs her fingers in it. So, we can carry our childhood with us in memory, if nothing else.
And it's a full circle of returning, and Buddhism, it talks about shedding the clothes of our experiences that don't fit for us anymore, and return to our true original nature. So there's a full circle there.
Chuck, I just need to ask you, have you ever read the Narnia Chronicles?
Yeah.
Okay, because there's a Christian kind of
There is.
analogy. I never looked at it. I just
C.S. Lewis loved to do this kind of thing with Narnia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I loved it, but I didn't grow up Christian, so I don't know. Did you like it?
You loved it.
Me too. It changed my life.
Yeah, I really loved it. I thought it was really interesting and very spiritual.
Yeah.
And so I didn't take. I generally don't take the clothes of religion on as I read these things. I really take the spirituality out of it. So.
There's tremendous power in these children's stories, and they last with us when a lot of other things are gone. Bigger,
They're amazing new authors too. These are all like 1800s and stuff.
Alice in Wonderland.
Well, that's a really complicated one.
Yeah.
And there's some really kind of nasty ones that many of the nursery rhymes and stuff like that. You're like, really? This is it's pretty nasty. But there's some beautiful images in all of this. So anyway, a little return to your childhood today. Ruthie, why don't you lead us?
You ready to go?
We're going to do a loving kindness meditation at the end.
Sharon knows that I'm sure everybody here has a favorite story. I knew the Velveteen Rabbit was yours. One of my favorite children's books is Maurice Sedlak's Where the Wild Things Are.
Ah, yeah. It's a good one.
The night Max wore his wolf suit, and there was mischief of one kind and another, and so on and so on. And I remember going to buy copies of that to give out, and the lady at the bookstore said, "Oh, we didn't order it. It was too scary." I said, "Oh no, it's just the opposite.
Yeah.
It purchased it." But anyway,
while you do it, can you take? We can hear you so much better without your mask on while you're leading this.
No,
Can you? Or?
I'm not taking my mask
Okay.
off because I broke a tooth.
Oh.
And I said, all I need is a witch's broom now.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And besides, my ears might fall off.
Okay,
I
got
took
it.
all
Okay.
this stuff off.
Okay.
You know, you
We'll
find
just-
out the older you get, if there's any wisdom in any of this, is we're talking about new things that get old. And what happens, I have found, as I hit 90, that the shiny thing at 90 is spirit. It got shinier with rubbing over the years. Whereas a lot of the things that seem so tremendously important to me in my lifetime are literally bubbles in a stream.
Or what?
Bubbles in a stream, you know. They floated on by. I can hardly remember them. They're not important now. So, you know, I think the Velveteen Rabbit comes alive again as we get older, and that's what we call wisdom. We begin to go back and realize what really has value in our lives and what's stuck with us in our lives. One more quick story. I took my daughters to buy dolls, look at toys. And there were all these beautiful Madame Alexander dolls from the toy store just got me. They were so gorgeous. And I said, oh my God, look at these dolls. So they were going, and my littlest one, my younger daughter says, well, what do they do? I was like, what do you mean? What do they do? They don't do anything. You do. You know. So, anyway, toys and children's stories are really, the older we get, the more important they are. And a lot less important all the superficial teachings get. Dharma's everywhere. Anyway, we ready?
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to,
I think it's asking to be off.
no, you don't want to see me.
Yeah, but we close our eyes.
The
Ricky.
elastic from the bottom.
We close. You're not getting the lesson of the day that we think that you really are absolutely beautiful.
Ruthie, just tug the elastic from the bottom to tighten the stuff on top for you.
Do what?
Tug it
Pull
from
the
the
elastic
bottom,
on the
pull it.
bottom.
Pull the bottoms, yeah.
Pull.
Actually, I think the wire is at the bottom. The bottom part should be
I got it
softer.
on backwards.
Yeah.
So
Story of my life.
you squeeze that wire a little bit on your nose, it'll never fall
Right.
off.
Okay, well, I got to get to the dentist. Is what I got to do. Okay, so everybody, shut your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. Stretch a little bit if you need to. We've been sitting for a while. When you go home tonight, think about your favorite children's stories. And they will bring smiles to your faces. Except for some of the Disney stuff. It's totally traumatic. I mean, you know, Dumbo. I talk about crying. I broke, you know, they could break your heart too, but that's good too. But anyway, look for your own Velveteen. Okay, so for you who are newcomers, I'm going to give a guided meditation. It's a loving kindness meditation. We could talk at length about it, but we'll just go ahead and do it. It's self-explanatory. We're going to choose 5 people. I'll go through one at a time, and we're going to make unconditional, loving kindness, friendliness wishes for them. Okay, our intention for ourselves and everyone else. So we're going to start with ourselves. So bring yourself to mind. You can either just look at yourself inwardly, or you can see yourself as a reflection in a mirror. And to yourself, say, may I be well. May no harm come to me. May I live with ease. That's equanimity. May I live with ease, calm, and peaceful. May I be happy. Now take another deep breath. Pull up your mat, whatever, and move on to a visualization of someone you love with all your heart. And to this person, you're going to say, may you be well. May no harm come to you. May you live with ease, calm, and peaceful. May you be happy. We move farther out on the circle of unconditional friendliness and compassion to a neutral person. This is someone that you may not know their name, in which case call him or her friend. There's someone that you are familiar with, but you're not close. And to this person, you could say, dear friend, may you be well. May no harm come to you. May you live with ease, calm and peaceful. May you be happy. Smile to them and move out now to the fourth level on the circle of compassion and friendliness to a person with whom you are in conflict. This could be an old problem or a new problem. You okay? I don't want to clean it.
I'm okay.
You okay?
Yep.
It could be something that happened today or a long time ago. It could be something that festers, in which case you really need this practice. Or it could just be something that temporary irritation. So you're going to take a good, solid look at this person. Open your inner eyes and look directly at them. See their image. And try to see that image as if you've never seen it before, without any of your things you've added on to it, of resentment and grudges or whatever. And to this person, say, may you be well. May no harm come to you. May you live with ease, calm and peaceful. May you be happy. Smile and feel a bit of relief for having no malice anymore. And now we move farther out as far as we can go. And we're going to say this a little differently. We're going to put our hands over our hearts. That's the only place symbolically huge enough to take in the entire phantasmagoria of everything in space as well as close by. All sentient beings. 8 billion of us on this planet alone, plus all the animals. So now we're going to say, may all beings everywhere on this plane and all other planes be well. all beings everywhere be free from suffering. May all beings everywhere be happy. And now, if you're at home, you can sit with this for a very long time. And let it sort of get down into a cellular level. But for now, we're going to release our hands and open our eyes. And for those of you who are new, our benediction is up there. It comes from the Unitarian Church. And it's another example of the Dharma is everywhere. And we will close, and with this one we say all together. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and off we go. 1, 2, 3. Go in peace.